Well, Egyptian authorities say they will put 4 foreign journalists working for the Al Jazeera news agency on trial for allegedly helping a terrorist group. They include award-winning reporter Peter Greste, an Australian. The others are 2 Britons and a Dutch citizen. 16 Egyptians are also facing trial on charges of belonging to the Muslim Brotherhood, which the government has described as a terrorist group. The pro-Islamic movement has violently protested the overthrow of former President Mohamed Morsi. The Al Jazeera journalists are accused of helping the 16 Egyptian suspects and reporting what authorities call lies that hurt the national interest. They were arrested last month in Cairo. Al Jazeera says the world knows that the charges against the journalists are absurd, baseless, and false. Well, as the standoff between Egypt's military-backed government and the pro-Morsi supporters continues, journalists say there is a rising tide of suspicion towards the press. During the recent anniversary celebrations in Tahrir Square, some journalists were attacked by angry mobs. Basil El-Dab, an Egyptian-American working for an independent Egyptian publication, said he and a colleague were captured by a mob and only rescued when police forces intervened and hid them in a residential building. They escaped later when the mob had finally dispersed.
I think it's really just this snowball effect of paranoia and lack of trust in the press that kind of you see especially a lot with sort of the pro-army crowds. And you know, it seems to be a byproduct in some ways of sort of this rising kind of sense of nationalism and the emotion that comes with it. And a lot of times it just comes, I think, with a lot of distrust and hostility towards the press.
Journalists say the incident is just part of a much wider problem Egypt's press have faced since 30th June 2013, when former President Mohamed Morsi was removed from power by General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. Egypt's new constitution, which was overwhelmingly approved in a referendum, guarantees the independence of national newspapers. However, state media employees are concerned about how much press freedom any future government will really allow. Shahira Amin presents a weekly program on state-owned Nile TV. She says her program is screened before broadcast, and the Mubarak, her program, was screened by officials after it was aired.
أنا شايفة الإعلام رجع زي قبل ثورة يناير 2011.
I believe the Egyptian media has gone back to the days before the January 2011 revolution. Journalists today are practicing self-censorship because the general atmosphere is again one of fear. There are journalists who have been detained and others are subject to attacks and insults, and many of them are accused of being traitors and a threat to national security.
Amin also said that many foreign journalists or Egyptian journalists working for foreign publications had faced hostility on the streets, with Egypt's top military council now having given the green light for Army Chief General Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to stand as candidate in the upcoming presidential elections. Egypt's journalists say they expect little to change.